Cool, okay. Hello everybody and welcome to Mumbai. Requested by Ashish, one of the subscribers on the channel. And it's nice to see a few of you guys tuning in already. There's all sorts of issues with Discord, YouTube, Google, everything at the moment. So I'm hoping this works out and we get to the other end absolutely fine. But oddly enough, even the embedding on Discord seems to have completely stopped. So spread the word, let everybody know we're live, and we shall get started with setting up on the aircraft very shortly. Interestingly enough, some of the embeds work, some of them don't. But hey ho. Echo, good to see you tuning in. Matthew, welcome. Squad, hello again. So I know the stream said that we were starting at 1300. Unfortunately, with timings and things, YouTube and all sorts of other things, YouTube, Google, they had a massive global outage, so it was a 1 o'clock planned start time, but there was a little bit of lag on the server as we were getting it kicked off, so thank you all for waiting. Let's go ahead and get our MCDU ready. We're using a fantastic 8K Air India paint scheme by Mugs, and the link to which is in the description in case you guys want to get your hands on it, but it is really nicely detailed. So great job by whoever Mugs is. And while we're here, let's kick off with Pushback Express and request baggage and catering to the aircraft. There goes the old Gate Gourmet truck. 2 doors to right. So, it's very glary today. We're using Unreal Weather, of course. Because it's already sunset and going dark in India at the moment, we've rewound time a little bit and we're sort of working towards their midday timings. It's very bright, isn't it? Mako simulations, yeah. Not great with Hindi, I'm afraid, so we'll struggle with the old announcements there. Let's fire up Navigraph. And we'll pull our data in from SimBrief. We've already got it planned, ready to go. So let me share that with you guys. There we go. So we're going to take off on runway 09, I think it's planned because of weather at the moment in Mumbai. Turning left after departure, and we're following that coastline all the way up to Surat. And then we then turn north and head inland straight up towards New Delhi, as we can see there on the red dot. We've got our flight plan all ready to go, so you guys can see it there. And what I'll do is I'll try and leave the screen up so that as I'm inputting the data, you guys can see it as well. So VAB Victor Alpha Bravo Bravo 2 Victor India Delta Papa. Our call sign is AIC 866, and our alternate is Jaipur, so Victor India Juliet Papa. Costa 25 and flight level 310, shall we? Just going to launch vPilot as well while I'm at it, before I forget. AIC 866 call sign. So Air India 866 is what we would use for Unicom or whatever else we're on. 42.8. So that's init A. We can now go to the flight plan page and add our departure on runway 09, and we're testing out some new functions here. So as we can see, we've got the runway length and headings all input on the MCDU, so it's a new feature on the A32NX to come very soon. And we know from reading the text on our flight plan that we want the Alba 2 Bravo departure there. So we can go ahead and insert that. Interestingly, it doesn't allow us to return to temporary flight plans, so that needs to be raised. Transition via AAU, and from there we want ISRIS. Unless that was already mentioned, let's have a quick look. No. So ISRIS. Let's trigger that temporary flight plan again. That's an odd looking departure, isn't it, guys? Let's have a little look at Navigraph, shall we? So this doesn't really match up with the Alba 2 Bravo. It's showing that we're turning left after departure and going direct, so wonder what runway it's supposed to be on. Let's just double check SimBrief. It's showing departure runway 09, so it's interesting. Navigraph looks very different to that flight plan page, but hey ho, we'll go ahead with it anyway. I think it's because it's trying to force that transition to AAU, and really we want to go to ALBAP, and then so let's remove that. Remove CACPO 366 AAU. Ah, there we go. That looks better, doesn't it? Good, good, good. So from ISRIS, we wanted direct to Dosto. Direct to Egugu. Direct to Gompti. A lot of directs. No airways yet. Direct to Intix. Let's go ahead actually, while I remember, we want those on. Let's put the signs on. That's good. So Intix, and then where are we going? Direct to Nokok. Direct to Bunbu. Direct to Dukot. Oh, not in database. Bubnu. Did I spell that wrong? Yes, I did spell it wrong. Babnu, direct to Ducot. Direct to Elmon. And then direct to the airport, bizarrely. Runway 28 is telling us, so let's have a look at some arrivals, shall we? So it's telling us via Elmon. There's quite a few, isn't there? Wow, there's lots. Let's just have a little look. So Elmon and then Atrin looks like a good option for us, doesn't it? Runway's 28, and I think that's what it was telling us in the typed flight plan. Runway 28 there. So we're going to use that Atri 5 Bravo. ILS 28. Atri 5 Charlie. Fine. And Atri 5 Charlie, what's it taking us in via? Chi, I wonder if there's a waypoint down here somewhere. Chi, there we go, that's perfect. I'm starting to really like Navigraph. So let's go ahead and insert. This is one of the new changes as well, because we're in a temporary flight plan. It's now allowing us to start building that in properly. It's given us a bit of a weird arc there, but as we get closer we can figure it out. Weirdly, it's given us a VOR DME for runway 29. I'm pretty sure I just selected 28. So that's offset. Yep, it keeps saying 29. Weird, weird, weird. This is all part and parcel of testing, I guess. So let's press the one above. VOR DME 28. What? This is when I start to really regret doing a test. Good grief. You know what? We'll do that 28, which is lined up with that for some reason. Atri 5 Bravo, inbound via Chi. We'll insert that, and then we'll get, as we get closer, we'll go onto the RadNav page and we'll input the ILS frequency into there. In it be, we've got a zero fuel weight of 57.1 tonnes and a zero fuel weight centre of gravity of 24%. Let's see what it's trying to tell us that we need for block. 5.7 tonnes, so we've got 5.4. So I could call the fuel truck. Let's see what that's going to mount up to, shall we? So 41. 41, 5.7. Okay, that'll do us. Performance page, let's just recycle these V speeds again just to make sure that nothing has changed. And of course, because we're on vPilot, guys, we need to make sure that we've got our relevant pieces of data inserted into our vPilot client. Let me just catch up on the live chat. Hello David, afternoon. Sorry, I was trying to get this all kicked off real quick. I'm not sure why it's glary. It's unreal weather, and I think it's just the sheer time of day. So if I go to live time, that's live now. It's obviously too dark, so I was trying to bring us a bit of a happier medium. So I might do 1448, a little bit less glare perhaps for us. Our QNH there is 1011. Squad, see you, thank you for tuning in. And let's have a quick look on vPilot. So it's VAB, Victor Alpha Bravo Bravo, departure, and then into VidP. Departure time in Zulu, it's going to be 13:25, let's say, and it's pretty much 2 hours flight time. We've got 2 hours 30 fuel. We're just going to do flight level 310. And what was that arrival route that we said? It was the Atra 5 Bravo, wasn't it? File flight plan. Fetch from server. There's absolutely no ATC or anything on for us at the moment, so so this test thing that we were supposed to be doing is supposed to fix the arrival page, but it's actually created a bit more of an issue for us, really. So we've worked around it as best as we can, as you guys just saw. William, welcome. Ashish, no problem at all. I hope you enjoy the trip. That sounds like the APU is fired up now as well. So QNH was 1011, wasn't it, guys? It is super glary in the flight deck. I'm not sure why. Let's get rid of the air bridge. Pushback Express, of course, is what we're using today. They've got a winter sale on, 30% off. There it goes, and we can go ahead and get our beacon on because we're going to Pushback. We'll come off external power, and I wonder if my preset, oh lovely, there we go, our preset windows and things are all still saved. Lovely. Okay, so we are good and we've got our flight plan ready to go. This is a live flight as well that would have gone out this morning. Actually no, sorry, it's this is due to go out at 7 AM on the 30th of December, so it is going to be a real flight number. In use by Air India, but we are on our own at the ground. Frustratingly, the scenery at Mumbai is very autogen, and this is the best gate that I could find that worked for us. It's a really nice livery, 8K by Mugs. Description on the stream has got all of that data for you guys. Let's put predictive wind shear on. I'm not sure why it is so glary, you know. I think it maybe is to do with the PR that we're testing. Something's gone awry a little bit there. Let's go ahead and get our pushback.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead, flight deck.
We are ready for pushback and engine start.
Roger. Release the parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
Pushing back.
Runway 09 is what we're going to be using today. And as we push back and start up, I'll share the Navigraph screen again with you guys. You can see that we're going to push back and we'll taxi down hotel down to runway 09. So hotel, Mike, November, and we'll hold at November 11. So that's pushback commenced. It's powered FADEX, engine 2 start. Let's put that back on arc mode.
You are cleared behind and you can start your engines at your discretion.
Let's try and do pushback with an obscure window view, shall we? Lovely, that's engine 2 started, so let's start engine 1. It's very bright, isn't it? I can't get over the glare. It's got to be something to do with the sim.
Pushback complete. Set parking brakes.
Or the
please.
way unreal weather is maybe rendering
Parking
the
brakes
sun.
set.
Roger. Okay. The tow bar is disconnected and the equipment is clear. We will see you on the right.
There we go.
Okay.
We'll do that instead, it's a little less glare, isn't it?
And go to hand signals.
Thanks. Have a good flight. See you later.
So there goes the pushback tug. And if we go to Alt 5 again, we can actually move. We can move freely around the flight deck. This custom view thing that we've set. So if we wanted to, we could probably do this as a window view. Let's see. Yeah. We'll do Alt 7. Who knows? Takes a bit of getting used to anyway, fiddling around with those controls. That's engine 2 started, so or engine 1 started rather. So let's kill the APU. Ignition mode norm. We want flaps 1. Taxi light, wing light. Mumbai traffic, Air India 866, taxi into runway 09, hold November 11 via Hotel Mike, November. So here we go. The wing views are custom, so I had to edit some files. I covered it yesterday in the trip to Innsbruck video that we did. So if you've missed that, check that out. Around about halfway we had a little look at the custom views, but there are ways to set your own. God, the glare is so bright. Yeah, one big flappy boy. I don't have an Indian accent, I'm afraid. So taxiing along Hotel, onto Mike. This is where I find out the charts aren't a replica of the airport itself. So interestingly enough, this should be Mike. There should be a little arrow or a little turn here, but AutoGen hasn't allowed it. It's a shame there's no more detail to some of these default airports. And I don't think we have. Let me check Luke Airtool. I'm not sure if we have a Air India announcements. No, we don't. So for those of you who might want an Air India announcement, you can download your Luke Airtool and you can actually request them to include it. Cruise altitude of 31,000 feet. Mumbai traffic, Air India 866, crossing runway 14. We are connected to VATSIM, but there's no traffic at all in the area. Diraj, yeah, I do have rudder pedals. But they are overly sensitive, so I'm trying to get my head around their quirks, if you like. Do some flight control checks. And the joystick that I'm using is the T-Flight, Thrustmaster T-Flight HOTAS X. It's very built up, isn't it? It's auto-gen, but interestingly enough, I had the power plug on Mumbai, so for some reason it thinks that there's scenery been tweaked.
Camera cruises for takeoff, please.
So that's November 10, and we'll use November 11 for the hold. Our V1 speed is 129 knots. Mumbai traffic, Air India 866, lining up runway 09 via November 11. And departing north. Good question, Goju. Have they managed to fix the rubber over sensitivity? No, no, they haven't. I'm afraid. It's quite frustrating having all these little bugs and things, but it is a work in progress. Yeah, we are light today. 57 tons is our takeoff weight. Fantastic livery on flightsim.to. It's free to download for anybody with Microsoft Flight Simulator. They've you can change Goju. You can change the sensitivity of the rudder. So I've reduced mine to -75%, and that gives you a little bit more control. So this is all looking good. I should have really started that chrono, and for our departure as well, we'll start that chrono for power. So park brake off, start the chrono, initial bit of power. And thrust set. Yeah, so this livery isn't in the mega pack at the moment. One big flappy boy. It's on flightsim.to. It's 8K in resolution. It is stunning. So V1 rotate. V2 positive rate. Go up. Let's get back in the flight deck, shall we? Because there is a left turn coming up. Look at that for a view. Fantastic. That is stunning. Look at that. Goju, yeah. Prepare for trouble. There's some stunning scenery. You know what, let's go to an external view, shall we? Getting sidetracked by the views out here. Wow, look at that. Really bright, hazy sun burning through. We can see the coast off on our left. Fantastic views. I'm not sure if that spy is broken. I know that YouTube was very broken about 30-40 minutes before I started this stream, so I was a little worried, I have to say. There we go. Have a little look at that, shall we? And an amazing livery there as well. Created by a username of Mugs. And let's see, Alt 6. So these are some custom views. One thing I don't think we'll need today is icing, which will be, which is good to know. Nice and hot. True. Actually, yeah, I suppose 26 degrees. Probably not that hot. Alt 6 I think was our next view. No, it's Alt 5. Still getting used to some of these views. Amy, the talk isn't too bad when you get your head around it. I'm trying my hardest to create some good tutorials that will help cover some of that, so stay tuned for it. I've started some of them already. We have a departure tutorial, some taxi clearance tutorials and things as well. But it's one of those things where you watch. If you watch some of the videos and you get some of the lingo in your head, you can just sort of tune in as a observer and just listen to what people are saying. Then you get your head around it that way. It's quite a good way to learn. And then just get yourself thrown in and pick somewhere easy that you're used to flying in and out of, maybe with just one runway or something as well to help. Under less than 24 degrees. Our summers are it's a good summer for us if it's 24 degrees here. So I need to pick another view, and I want it to be linked to, let's see, what other custom view do you guys want to see? Do you want to see one with the engine? Look at that. Odd. Basically I changed the config file and it allows us to go into the aircraft and do some custom views and things. Let's see, we need to try and get into that window pane. That's probably a good one, isn't it? So, Control Alt 8. So we set that. Although we are sort of poking outside the. Let's see. Does take a lot of fiddling around with until you you find something you're happy with. probably a good one. Control Alt 8. There we go. For now, let's head back into the flight deck. Because, interestingly, the autopilot's doing something very odd. So we were climbing, but we've actually lost aileron. There we go. Very bizarre. We fixed it. I did think we should have been flying in a straight line. Let's pop the seatbelts off. Yeah, so one big flappy boy. You have to go into the your folders, and you need to find a folder called cameras.config within the A320, or for us using the A32NX, we would be looking for cameras.config in the A32NX folder. And at the very top there's a file that says iView 43 dot so on. Change that 43 and you take that 3 off. So you delete that number 3. Sorry, you delete the number 4, so you just have the number 3 dot something, and then you go into your sim, and it will spawn you in the middle of the aircraft somewhere. But what it does is it basically makes that door transient, so you can actually move through it. So that's allowed us to change the configurations, and then we just save the custom views as we want by selecting Control Alt and then a number. And then to load the views, we just do Alt and then the respective number as well. Oh, vPilot just dinged. That means there's someone around. A FedEx flight is around us somewhere. So it's around about 2 hours flight time from departure. So we're already eating into that time. And we can see our progress using all of this here. It's frustrating that this doesn't work properly. What I might do whilst we're en route is type up the report for that. Yeah, I can try and make a video about it. Hopefully it'll explain it a little bit better. I find that I had to change it a couple of times. Now I've actually got the views set. I can just press the keybinds and jump between the different views. So. It definitely works out for me now. But it's nice having the internal views of the engine and through the windows without the sheer noise that you get through it. So we could look at doing this approach stuff here. It's a little bit soon for it, but we could look at doing that. The one thing I want to try and change though is this VOR DME for runway 28. So I'm going to have a little look at Navigraph. And there's our route. So we're hugging that coastline up to Surat, and then we're turning further north inland. And we want to look at approaches. And we want that ILS runway 28. And it's linked to this chart, so let's transitions through Chi. Okay. So it is actually a DME arc approach. So we can, good grief, I've not done one of these for a little while in the sim. We can actually go ahead and give this a go then. So we're coming in via the Chilaki VOR, and we then need to fly a radial against the Delhi VOR, which is at 116.1 DPN. So, RadNav 116.1 for that Delhi Airport VOR that we're going to fly the radial using, and it's got the ILS of 110.3 input there as well, which is correct. The course of 284 is blank for some reason, and it doesn't let us put it in, but we'll have to manage it as we approach and hope to see that we hopefully it works out well for us. You can see at the bottom of the chart here we fly Chilaki VOR, and that's got its own frequency of 116.8, and if we want to track that VOR we can go ahead and add that into VOR2 frequency, and we can then track both if we want to. Although the nav should take us through Chilaki and then inbound. We're going to approach via this left hand side of your screen here, flying at flight level 70 or 7,000 feet at standard pressure, up to that initial approach fix of DPN. And once we hit that waypoint we'll be turning right, and we're looking at a 12-mile DME arc. As we can see there, it says 12 DME arc DPN, and that basically means that we need to fly this turning circle manually, and we need to make sure that our distance between that VOR and the centre is exactly 12 nautical miles as we make our way round. But as we do that as well, we need to be descending through flight level 70 down to 2,600 for our final approach. So there's lots to consider with this. And it says there at the very top here, for final approach C11.5A, 11.5. So it's going to be quite an interesting approach actually. Bit of clear air turbulence that we're getting at the moment. There's the coast down there below us. And what I will do is reduce that pressure on the engine so we our rate of climb drops a little bit. Tan, awesome. Great part of the world to fly in as well, around the Far East. Fantastic scenery, and always busy on VATSIM as well. Flappy Boy, thanks for tuning in. See you in Delhi, and Echo, thank you as well for tuning in. So we've got a lot really to plan for as we get closer. That VOR DME arc that we need to fly is going to be fun. Certainly very different to the approaches that we are used to, or I'm certainly used to. Yesterday, for those of you who watched, we flew into Innsbruck, and we flew a fantastic RNAV approach through the mountains, and it was absolutely breathtaking. So we've done that. We were hoping actually on that trip for a circle to land procedure at Innsbruck, so that we could have really tested ourselves as well, really challenged ourselves in the sim. But we had approach come online, which is fantastic, and we got given a RMP Zulu approach. Interestingly enough, I can't see. I can't actually see our approach properly on here. We'll add that to our route on Navigraph as well. That's quite a cool overlay. But we click onto approaches and we're looking at the ILS runway 28. It's not giving us any charts except for the one we were just looking at. So there's no descent path or anything like that for us, so it's all going to be down to us. We know that we've got 2,600 foot as our final approach altitude that we need to start our finals with, and we're just going to have to manage that descent as we make our way in. It's going to be interesting actually flying the VOR, the DME arc. Ah, there we go. There's our final approach plate. Lovely, found it. So, so you guys can see as well. So we're going to be flying in roughly where my cursor is at the moment, that 12 DME arc, and as we get in towards that 12 DME for DPN on that final approach, we're then turning left on finals. We've got our frequency there of 118.3 for runway 28, and our descent guidance as well there. So you can see that we need to start our final approach at 2,600 feet, and we might be giving a step down to 2140. Our glide slope starts at 2,140 feet there, at 4.3 miles from touchdown. And we've got our different categories of ILS there, category 3A, 3B and category 2, category 1. And if the glide slope's out, we've got the localizer approach as well there, with the decision heights. If you want to work out which is going to be the figure that you need to input into your own sim, then MDA is the big numbers in bold, and decision height, which is linked to your rad out, is the one in brackets. So we could look at, for example, category 1 ILS at 228 feet. We put that 228 into DH, or if we wanted to use MDA, we'd put 1006. If it was a category 2 ILS, we'd use MDA 878 or DH 100 foot. And the rad out there, it says, should read 95. And that's the point where we get that minimums call out. If we were using the decision height, we'd get that minimums call out from the aircraft. We've got the go around guidance there as well, so if there is a go around required or a missed approach, we climb straight ahead to 2,600 feet, and then when we cross that 5 mile DME marker, we turn right heading 345. And then we're basically intercepting that VOR again. You can see here it then continues on to that 10 mile DME marker, and then into sampler for a hold pending further instruction from ATC. So lots to bear in mind, and we can actually go ahead and overlay that onto our map, look, which I absolutely love. I think it's fantastic. We can go ahead and click that there as well, so we've got that overlay. And realistically as well, we've got that arrival at 35 Bravo, so we can input that. There we go. And there's our arrival route planned in nicely there, guys. Could have used DIPAS as well, to be fair, actually, by the looks of it, but we'll stick with ATRIN. And there we are. We're passing Surat now on the left. Down there, as we can see. Brilliant scenery. Hopefully at some point in the next few months they look at doing a world update for India and the region. The photogrammetry is stunning. Let's do Alt, was it 8? Nope, Alt 6, Alt 5. We get there. There we go. A little bit of a wing view, shall we? Goju, I haven't tried the CJ4 mod. No, is that the one from Canadian Mods? I tend to steer away from a lot of their add-ons because they've been a little bit dubious as to how they've obtained them. So I tend to just not use any of them. Actually, do you mean working title? Is that the working title CJ4 mod? Because I've heard it's absolutely fantastic, but I rarely fly the smaller jets. I like bigger as well, actually. So I'm really looking forward. Yeah, that's it. CJ4 working title. I'm really looking forward to the Whiskey Simulations A220. That's going to be quite cool. And the early teaser video that they released the other day for that looks fantastic. But there is lots to do still. Wow, SimBrief plans load straight in. That's really good then, because the A32NX project hasn't got that yet. So they're still looking to try and implement that. Yeah, that's fantastic. You pull your SimBrief info straight from the FMC. You don't even have to download and place any flight plan. And has a top of descent. SimBrief plan loads straight into the CJ4 MCDU. Decided. Nice. That is really good. David, yeah, working title were the guys behind the G1000 and G3000 mods. They are a very, very good team, actually. Now I've realised who we're referring to. Their Garmin 1000 mod, actually, for the Cessna Caravan is really nice. I'm not a massive fan of the CJ4 myself. I've got Premium Deluxe, and I actually really wanted to be able to use the Dreamliner, but for some reason, it's just really badly implemented. So we struggled to. I've done one flight to Dubai on it, and I decided at that point I would never do another flight again with the Dreamliner until Quality Wings release their 787. Gaz, hello. Yeah, so every 3 months, Asobo release a major world update. So they update all the photogrammetry for Bing Maps and add a load of handcrafted airports in as well. So at some point, we'd like to see a lot of the Indian region touched, because it's all auto-generated. So I can do it. Yeah, I can guess. Trying to work out what city that is. So I'm just having a quick look on Navigraph. But it doesn't tell me. If anybody knows what this is, then let me know. Oh, Gaz, you've been caught by the bot. Goju, I've not gone into the TBM actually for a little while. The last time I flew that, I was buzzing around the Grand Canyon in the sim. And it's quite good, but it's again, it's just like, you know what, I really want a working 747 and a 787 in the sim. Major river meandering down there back to the coast. How are we doing on our nav display? So we've got GOM2 in tick and Dukop Bubnu. So we're getting there, about 500 miles maybe to go. 521 miles to go. And that VOR DME arc is going to be a challenge to fly. Yeah, it's not an airliner. I tend to only really stick to the airliners in the sim. Except for the Cessna Grand Caravan, actually. That's quite nice to fly in the sim as well for some VFR related stuff. Flying around New Zealand in the sim is fantastic. There's some really good scenery, add-ons and things that have been put in place for that. Of course, Ashish requested this yesterday, so we're doing this trip to from Mumbai to Delhi. And if any of you guys want to see any other sort of routes covered anywhere else in the world, then just let me know. in the comments, and we'll do our best to get it fitted in. I will be releasing some more tutorials about how to get started on VATSIM. That is a massive city there. If anyone knows what that is, let me know in the comments. But the Quality Wings, Goju, the Quality Wings 787, when that gets released, that's going to be absolutely fantastic. It's going to be very good quality, and it's obviously going to be a hell of a lot better than the default 787 that they put into the Sim for the Premium Deluxe version. That's odd. Is it me, or did the internal lights just turn themselves on? No. Just the way that the light's changing around us. Trying to scrap about on maps to try and find out what this is going to be. The city down below there. It's vast, whatever it is. Yeah, Quality Wings. I think it would probably be about £80 when it gets released. I think they said summer 2021 or spring 2021, I think it was where they're looking to release all of this. And that's going to be quite good to see. It would be nice just to have a few more airliners in the sim that we can use. So the Whiskey Simulations A3220, the Quality Wings 787, they're both ones to watch. And whenever PMDG get round to releasing that 737 as well, although I haven't got many hopes for it, to be honest. So we've turned. So is this is it Ahmedabad? Ahmedabad? Looks like, according to my maps anyway, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, that looks like that vast city down below. Looks awesome from this distance, 31,000 feet. Certainly looks like it anyway, roughly from where we are now. It's either that or Vadodara, but I'm trying to look where the route is taking us. I'm inclined to think it's Vadodara actually that city is. So because we're using VATSIM, I can type straight into the vPilot client .metar and then the arrival code for New Delhi VIDP, and it's given us surface wind of 340 at 6 knots, haze 15 degrees Celsius, QNH 1017. It's almost as cold as it is here. Yeah, that's a good idea actually. I flew out of Singapore a little while ago in an event. I think I did Singapore to Hong Kong, and that was quite cool. Really good scenery. I've done Manila as well in the sim. But yeah, I'll make a little note of that now actually. So there we go. I've wrote that down. So over the next week or two, I'll be looking to do a live stream for that route then. How are we getting on flight wise? So 4.6 tons of fuel. Lots of cloud building in now. And we've got 478 miles track to go. And we've got that VOR 1 frequency set, that's for the Delhi DME arc, and Chi VOR 1168, which is part of the STAR, the arrival route we're flying, and the ILS frequency as well for our final approach. But we're not sure if it works or not because it is a default airport, so who knows. The Gugu. It's nice to see we've got the fuel prediction page and things in place as well, and it's showing us there we're going to arrive at Delhi with 1.8 tonnes of fuel left, and if we need to divert to Jaipur then 0.8 tonnes of fuel there should we have to divert, so plenty for us. One thing that's not implemented yet in the A32NX is this secondary flight plan page, which is a little bit of a shame, but I believe if we go to flight plan we could, so that's been disabled there, greyed out, so we should be able to click enable alternate and it will allow us to then route to Jaipur, and this doesn't work either, airport. Data gives us lots of different functions. And naturally if we wanted to we could fly a direct route, but you can see there in 300 odd miles, 360 nautical miles now, we start the entry into Atrin for the STAR. So we need to think about roughly when we might want to start our descent. From flight level 310 down to the start of the Atrin arrival. There's Chalaki. So we can have a look at Atri 5 Bravo and the linked charts for it. And it's not giving us any arrival heights just yet until we get to Akban actually, and it's telling us for the Atrin 5 Bravo arrival. So if you're new to VATSIM, the best thing I can recommend is just reviewing the charts as you go and planning well in advance of your arrival. But we're going to enter Atrin, as we can see there, for the red line, onto the Atrin 5B star, turning right 067 degrees. Still descending, and we're going to aim for Akban around flight level 150 there, with a speed constraint of 250 knots. So at this point I'll have probably already have activated the approach phase, and I'll just leave it on managed speed so it reads the green dot, and the auto thrust handles that for us. On to DP 510, and there's loads of different alternate waypoints and things for us there. Atrin 5 Bravo at that point max to 30 knots for the DME arc procedure, and then we're reading that DME and the distance from that VOR station. DME stands for distance measuring equipment, and we're basically waiting until we make the turn for that 12-mile DME. We then have to manually fly that radial all the way around to our final approach runway 28. So lots to bear in mind there for us. Certainly makes it a little bit more difficult, but I quite like flying the VOR approaches. A little bit more to think about, more to handle and consider as well. Just remind myself actually, what was that altitude? Akban, flight level 150, with a line below as well, so it's telling us that we have to be at or above flight level 150. In that case, looking at our waypoints, we'll probably start our approach at Babnu. We'll start our descent at Babnu. How many miles is that going to be actually? Yes, Babnu. And then as we pass Atrin, we'll be looking to be pretty much near flight level 150 at that point. For the next waypoint is Akban, just off the nav display there. 240 miles till Elmon. So once we pass Intix, I'll refresh the METAR data as we get a bit closer, and we'll pull the latest METAR and we'll feed that into the performance page of our MCDU. And that's so that the aircraft can manage our speed and work out ground speed and things like that for our approach. If we get too close, the MCDU will start to give us an orange warning by the scratch pad there saying enter destination information or enter dest data or something like that. So lots to consider, but loads of time as well to enjoy the flight. Hopefully the clouds start to dissipate as we get a little bit closer to Delhi as well, so we don't have the haze and the near overcast cloud cover as we descend. I'm just having a little look on VATScan, which is an app I've got on my Android phone. Free to download, it just tells me if there's any traffic in Delhi. Let's have a little look. I'll say that, but it's not even loading me up. Or anyone else for that matter. Odd. So I'll check my backup of SimAware. Let's see. Yeah, so we've missed there's a FedEx 747-8 that took off about an hour and a half ago from New Delhi, headed to Dubai. There's a Qatari flight 826, but it's got a null flight plan, so we can't actually see where that's going. And there's a Swiss A330 that's overflying northern India at the moment, so nobody, from what I can tell, flying in. Yeah, looks pretty empty. Dubai looks busy, and of course Europe, as always, is rammed full of aircraft. In fact, good grief, Heathrow and Gatwick as always are really busy on the network, as is Manchester, and Amsterdam of course as well. So by the end of the week I'll hope to have added the next tutorial, which is just a basic introduction of what to expect for descent on VATSIM, and how to fly a star, and things to bear in mind if your flight plan is broken. So if the sim doesn't have the star properly and misses a waypoint, then how to look at the charts and fly that. So I've tried to cover it in as much detail as I can without making it really complicated, to try and help people get onto VATSIM. So that will be the next episode in the VATSIM mini-series of tutorials that I'll be creating. And then beyond that as well, in the next few weeks before Christmas, I'll have hoped to have completed a tutorial on how to land as well, how to fly the ILS approach, intercept the localizer and land on VATSIM as well, and all the different things you might hear and be asked and told to do. And that'll then complete that series. I've actually gone ahead as well and got a livery for the A320 commissioned in 8K. An absolutely stunning livery as well, I've got to say, thanks to Tommy HBK, which those of you will recognise from flightsim.to. a really incredible livery creator. One big flappy boy, welcome. We're about halfway now, I think. If you missed us discussing the VOR DME arc, the radial that we need to fly, then you can rewind and have a little look. But as we get closer, I'll probably go through the descent brief and look at that again, just to refresh myself, because it is a lot to do. Around about 1 hour now at departure. When we get to 1,000 subscribers, I'll hope to have created. I'll be releasing a A320 Neo livery anyway for everybody to download for free. Tommy HBK's created it, and it is really good, I've got to say. I drew up a design for it to how exactly I wanted it, and it's been done perfectly, so I'm really impressed with that. So thanks to him for creating that for me. And it's got the raccoon eyes as well on the A320, which is going to be quite cool. How are we doing for scenery? That looks awesome. The graphics in the sim are just absolutely incredible. If I had a 4K monitor, then I could probably be looking out of these windows thinking I'm looking out of a real thing. It's really well done. See there, we're almost going to pass in ticks, and then we're well on the way. We're well over halfway actually at that point. Yeah, so pretty much bang on halfway now. So if we were on VATSIM, we would be on Mumbai radar, and in about 10 minutes we would be switching to Delhi radar if they were online. What's quite good about Navigraph is, do I like raccoons? It's the design of the windows on the flight deck for the A320neo with the raccoon eyes, and the A350 as well. I think they look quite cool. You can see there that VABF Mumbai FIR, that green line. That's telling us that we're going to leave the Mumbai flight information region, and then we're going to head into that Delhi FIR here. Let's just refresh the ATIS information again. Let's see, 3:30 at 5 knots now. So that wind is coming round in favour of runway 28 a lot more. So it's still a considerable 40 degree, 30 degree crosswind for us for a component. (14 degrees Celsius), so getting a little colder. And what I might do is I might just go ahead and add some of this destination data now, because it shouldn't change too much. The wind reading might change, the tower wind, and the temperature might change 1 or 2 degrees by the time we arrive. And transition altitude, very good point. Let's have a wee look at the charts again, shall we? Arrivals, Atri 5B, link to charts, view. Transition level by ATC, it says. So we don't actually have a transition, but what I will do is, because we're entering at Akban flight level 150, I'll set 12,000, because then we'll be descending through 7,000 for the star, so we'll then go on to normal local QNH, in fact 10,000. We'll set as the transition. We've got an approach speed of 132 knots, so we know we're a category C aircraft, and as we were saying earlier as well, we need to know our decision heights. So for that we want to see our final approach information. So on Navigraph, the easiest way to find it is to click VIDP or whatever the airport code is for wherever you're flying to, and then open charts list, and it brings up this tab at the side here, and you want to look for approach, runway 28, and here we've got initial approach, which is what we were looking at earlier with that DME arc that we need to fly, and then we've got a second tab there of final approach, and our decision heights. We'll do 100 foot for the rad out, according to that. David, no, unfortunately not, because we've got, actually, you know what, I probably can, because I noticed a change the other day. So let's go into options, ATIS source, so that's not on there, METAR source, not yet implemented, okay. So eventually Unreal Weather is going to be fed in, that'll be quite good. So if we had ATIS on, ATIS information with a live tower, we'd be able to feed that in. I could probably connect to one of these at Pilot Edge or VATSIM. Let's have a little look at Pilot Edge. So I could change the setting there. ATSU, AOC, ATIS. Victor India Delta Papa. Arrival, send. Free chart apps. I really like the one that I'm just popping into the live chat now for you guys. Chartfox.org, but it does require a VATSIM account to use. Company message on the eCam. So we can go back. Receive messages, let's see if this has got data. Yeah, digital data is not available either for that, unfortunately. Let's reset that back to there, shall we? That's a shame. But yeah, because there's no air traffic control on or anything like that, we can't feed the ATIS information in via the MCDU for today, unless of course one comes online. 346 miles to run, and some great scenery down below. And a lot of haze behind us as well. So I'm still decided whether or not I'm going to make use of actually getting have a look, see if what was I saying? Good grief, memory like a sieve. Even Discord was playing up. So some of these links that I put onto some of these Discord servers haven't actually gone through, bizarrely. A little frustrating. I love how with this as well, you create a thumbnail and then it uses the old one that you briefly created. So it's not actually up to date. For the thumbnails, but hey ho. Discord's been playing up as well as YouTube then. Ashish landing in 45 minutes, 30 minutes. Got that UTC 1057, we passed Intix. So it's telling us about about 50 minutes to go, 40 minutes to go. And that'll be taken into account as well, the fact we'll be slowing down and descending. Poseidon, yeah. Is there anything in particular that you wanted covering in that, or just a brief walkthrough of how to use different functions? If it helps, I could talk it through now actually, if you wanted to. How many miles have we got till we get to Atrin? Let's see. Atrin 160. So when we get to Nokok, near towards that waypoint there, we'll start our descent down to flight level 150, which we have to be level by Akban, which we can just see there on the nav display. Yeah, it's quite a good wing view actually, isn't it? The fact that we can actually move it about is quite cool as well. The views down there are absolutely incredible, look at that. The way the scenery renders the photogrammetry is absolutely incredible in this sim. Took a little bit of tweaking, just trying to get these custom views set up. It's not the easiest thing to do, and it's a bit fiddly in the sense that it depends on your current keybinds that you've already got set as well. But yeah, I can make a video on how to create those wing views. I'll have to add that to the list as well. I'll pop it down on my notepad here actually. It all depends on your keybinds and how you move around the flight deck. So for me, I've got those on my keyboard, the up, down, left, right arrows to move about. I'll explain more in that video that I create, but it might be a week or so before I get round to that. I need to finish the VATSIM tutorial as well. But it's nice being able to get this view because the default version is linked to the external drone camera, isn't it? And then you get that really loud screeching noise from the engines, whereas this is more of an internal cabin sound, which is a lot more tolerable. Although I've noticed the strobe lights are looking a bit odd on the wings there. So we're going to be blasting well over halfway because we've been live for 1 hour 25. We're on the ground for about 10 minutes, so 1 hour 15 in the air for a 2-hour journey. So give it 5-10 minutes, we'll be into our descent. We can have a look at vPilot, and still there's no ATC on at Delhi. If anybody knows what terminal Air India uses at Delhi, then let me know in the live chat so I can try and find where to taxi when we when we land. So this is the charts for Delhi on the ground. So we're going to be landing on 28, which is on the top, the second runway from the top. Really long runways, plenty of space, but then we're going to be taxiing towards this the main terminal area. So probably like Papa Mike 1, Sierra Whiskey 3 into this central area here, or apron 31 maybe. But if anyone knows exactly where Air India parks, then let me know. And the parking stands, there's lots of options. So this is where Navigraph comes in handy, because we'll actually be able to overlay these. But it's going to be likely that we'll use one of these here. Terminal 3, thank you very much. So, realistically then, we'd probably be better off planning for that runway 29, but hey ho, we've been given SimBrief, has told us runway 28. So we'll use that. Plus it'd be an extended taxi as well, so we can actually get to see what it's like as an auto-generated airport. There's a lot at Delhi looking at the maps. Maintenance aprons, cargo, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 aprons as well, just for the terminal building, so huge airport. Hello Fly2, welcome. Keep up the great work with your scenery as well that you're creating as well. It's exceptional stuff. Let's have a little look. What's our radius, distance? 120 to Latrin, so Babnu, yeah, round about Babnu we'll start a slow descent down to Akban as we were discussing earlier. Terminal 4 is international terminal, so that would be where British Airways, Qatar and everyone else lands, if that's correct then. But we'll head round to Terminal 3 and we'll park in the cul-de-sac at Terminal 3, if that's where Air India park. When we get closer and we start to fly that VOR arc, we'll be flicking these across, so we'll flick VOR switches on. So we'll be tracking both Chi, which would be VOR2, which would be just where my mouse is there on the nav display, somewhere there. And then at VOR1, 116.1 is that Delhi Airport VOR, where we fly the radial, 12-mile radial, for final approach. Odd. Looks like it's just changed the weather again completely, hasn't it? Let's pull the next METAR in. There was some scenery actually for Delhi, but I had a little look and it was only night lighting and jetways. But as I was reading through the descriptions or comments from people that were using it, they were finding that it wasn't working correctly for them. So I've chosen just to not download that scenery for today, because it didn't change too much anyway by the looks of it, and naturally I didn't want to risk breaking anything in the sim for the stream. Best part about flying in real life is being able to look out the window and appreciate all of the sort of world below you. And Microsoft Flight Simulator has done a really good job of creating a stunning scenery sim. Go out off in the distance there. So we go ahead and turn this nav display radius down because we're getting closer. We don't need to worry about anything over 160 miles or so. And this will show as well that if you understand the charts and you can sort of fly with the charts helping you, then you can fly absolutely anywhere in the world in the sim on VATSIM and still achieve a good outcome with the landing. So hopefully this gives people confidence in being able to just dive onto VATSIM and give it a go. And we are on Unicom, of course, so we are the only aircraft around. But the same principles would apply if we were flying out of Edinburgh, for example. There's interestingly enough, there's only 2 windows built into the aircraft models, and I suppose that's to help optimization, but it could also be a Sobo being lazy, to be fair. And it's only those 2 windows that give you these the sort of cabin look about it. If we look around, for example, it's just like a black sheath either side, and they've built the window into the model. But there's only 2. There's one on the right hand side, which is what we're looking at now, and there's one on the left hand side as well. So I'll cover how to create all of this in a video. But interestingly enough, I changed the default camera config files and got absolutely nowhere with it. So I actually went in and changed the A32NX camera config files. Flappable, yeah, I was considering actually, I was looking on Google Flights and I saw Vistara, SpiceJet, Air India and Indigo all operated this route, so I was a little torn actually as to which airline to use, but Ashish, who requested the flight, he asked for Air India as well, so we went with Air India with a real call sign of, well, real flight number, sorry, of the Air India flight 866. Not sure actually if Air India have got any A320 Neos. Don't really know too much about them as an airline. I know they operate into Heathrow and things with 777s and 787s, but I'm not sure what they've got domestic related. I suppose this would be called. Would this be an Air India Express flight, or would it just be Air India? You guys might know a bit better. Jump back into the flight deck, and we're passing Babnu now, so let's go ahead and start our descent, and we want it to be at or above flight level 150 level by Akban. Is it Akban? Yeah, Akban. And already the auto thrust is doing some bizarre stuff. It's a really annoying bug actually that's appeared since the patch that broke everything. The auto thrust then decides, it keeps switching between arrival, descent, so 250 knots, or cruise speed, and it can't work out which one it wants to use, and it's really annoying. So if you hear the idles, if you hear the throttles completely idle, and you look at your primary flight display and you see that that blue arrow has gone, then it's probably down at 250. In which case you want to get rid of. You want to go onto manage speed, as I've just gone onto here. You want to go onto selected speed mode, or manual speed select. Be careful as you descend as well. We're obviously on Mach 7.6. As we get lower, the air becomes denser, and that Mach number will then mean that the speed will creep up. So we can very quickly start to overspeed. So as we descend, we want to drop this down still, and keep a really close eye on your indicated airspeed. Once we get low enough, of course, we'll be able to change back to knots. You should be able to click that anyway and change back to knots regardless, but for some reason it is not yet implemented. Where's that down there? Oh, looks like I thought it was like a massive airport, but not quite sure what that is. A dam, perhaps? Echo, oh dear. One big flag boy, no problem at all. Thank you for tuning in, and when you re-watch it, enjoy the rest of the flight. The 12-mile DME radial is going to be interesting for us. We'll review that shortly as we get towards Atrin and towards Akbar. We'll review that DME radial. But everything in the RadNav page is ready to go for us as well. So very little surprises because we've already had a good look at the charts. $60 miles to Atrin. We can just keep this rate of descent. We could probably ease it down actually. You can see here as an example of what I was saying earlier. I've manually selected Mach 7.5, decimal 7.5, and as we're getting lower, the air is getting thicker, and that speed is creeping up. You can actually see it. You can see it ever so slightly creeping up as we descend. So you can get caught out with that, because actually we now need to be showing Mach 7.1, and you can see it's already creeping up again. And that catches a lot of people out in the sim. So as you get lower, you have to constantly flick your Mach and amend your Mach speeds down. Once we get low enough, of course, we can go ahead and switch that back onto airspeed knots. But you can see there we've already dropped now, it's showing 290. If we set Mach 6.9, decimal 6.9, 285 knots currently when we set it, and it's already creeping up, so 286. And the auto thrust constantly is targeting that blue arrow, so as that blue arrow is moving up, as the air gets thicker, our airspeed is going to increase with it, because the auto thrust is going to be chasing the Mach number rather than the airspeed. But now we've switched to normal airspeed. It's going to hold 285 knots, so once we get low enough we can come off Mach, and it will then hold the indicated airspeed properly. Which is all good. Lots to consider, some little bugs and things to contend with. I've noted on the Discord server for the A32NX that there have been some pilots saying that you should be able to change between Mach and airspeed knots or Mach and knots at any point as you want, so it shouldn't be frozen in Mach over a certain altitude. Okay, yeah, at least you can still watch on your phone. Good old 4G, eh? Turning left at Elmont. So Atril, or Atrin, is just before that ridge mountain, a little hill there. Then we're turning right towards New Delhi. There's about 120 miles to go before we fly in that DME arc for our final approach. The scenery is absolutely stunning. I wish I had a 4K screen. I've only got a 1080p, so but it's incredible on this anyway. I'd love to know what it looks like on a 4K screen. We're still keeping that nice smooth descent. We're not in any rush. And we're keeping it smooth for the guys in the back. Going to request the METAR one final time, and this was generated 15 minutes ago. The wind is exactly the same. It's now showing, instead of broken clouds at 3,200, it's now showing haze at 3,200. The temperature and the QNH are the same, and it's showing as well becoming 3,000 foot broken. Dominic, hello, welcome. Good to see you tuning in again. Thanks for returning. We're just into our descent into Delhi at the moment. We're going to be joining the Star, and then we've got a 12 DME radial to fly for our final approach, runway 28. So lots for us to be doing shortly. We've got some custom views as well now, thankfully. Somebody mentioned it the other day, so I've gone looking how to do it all, and I've gone and set my favourite ones up. That's a cool one. Echo, where do you live? Essex. Oh, good grief! Why's that flooding then? I'm near Heathrow, and there's no rain or anything crazy. So is it burst water mains or? Dominic, what are your thoughts on the Aerosoft CRJ that's hopefully dropping soon? And do I reckon I'll get it? You know what? I'm really not sure. I'm torn. Up until the announcement, and somebody on my Discord mentioned Lufthansa Regional using all the CRJs. I actually thought I've been really difficult. It's a difficult decision actually. I'm trying to work out if I would enjoy the CRJ or not. The only reason why I would get it is because of the routes offered by Fly UK, and I'd be looking to implement a lot of their routes, regional routes, across to smaller airports in Europe. So that would probably be the only reason why I'm doing it, if I did get it, but I'm not sure, to be honest. Part of me wants to hold out for, specifically for let's have a quick look here actually. I'm just checking the charts, bear with me. Part of me wants to hold out for the Quality Wings 787, sort of buy one or the other. So we're about to enter our star. So let's have a look at Navigraph. And you can see our progress there on the inlay on the map. Somebody's just potentially spawned a disconnect, connected to voice server, lost server connection. Odd. Christ, yeah, that's not good then, Echo. Yeah, we're making our way to Atrin. We're then turning right to join that star. Inbound to Sabek, and as we make our way to there, we obviously need to make sure we've descended. That there is the Chilaki VOR, which we've got programmed in ready, and there is a holding fix there if we needed to hold at Chilaki for any reason. So not too much distance wise for us to go to get there. And Sabex, Chilaki. Cool, just make sure we don't get lost with other waypoints that might have gone wrong. Fab. So we're going to look here 16 miles from DPN, which is that airport VOR DME, that decision measuring equipment. And that when we get to 16 miles, we'll be turning right to join a 14 DME arc for DPN. So we need to fly a radial of the airport exactly 14 miles as we turn all the way around. So we can't come too close, we can't come too far away. We have to be careful of our heading and our drift and our distance from the VOR marker. So we want on our nav display for it to say 14 miles the whole time, as best as we can. Down to 7,000, and as we reach 7,000 we make that turn. We're then dropping down to 2,600. I'm just going to make a note of this on a piece of paper actually, because there's a lot to consider. 2,600, 14 DME, and then we're flying up to that initial fix, 14 miles from DPN, for our final approach. Down to 2,600 for that. I'm not sure if on here we can actually. Can we add the next one? Oh yes, we can. So actually, they look like the same thing, don't they? So that's as prepared as we can get, really. We can go ahead and check out our approach. We can see that Chi VOR there, and there's Akban. Once we hit Akban at flight level 150, we're going to start descent down to 7,000, but it'll probably be a continuous descent at that point down to 2,600 if I'm honest. Delhi traffic, Air India 866, inbound on an Atrin 2 Bravo arrival, inbound ILS runway 28 with a DME arc, Vachi. And the airport will be off in the distance over there somewhere. Not sure why I can't see the final approach chart properly on the overlay. Apparently you can stack. Is that it? Yes, it says you can stack multiple charts one on top of the next, but as I'm clicking on them I can't actually I can't do both. It's only letting me stack one or the other. How long is Ashish? 20-30 minutes max. You can see the airport just up ahead there, so we've got that DME radial arc starting there for our final approach. So 60 miles until we start to track the VORs. I wonder if it'll pick up Chi already, actually. Let's flick that on. Yeah, so we're already picking up Chi, 65.2 nautical miles. I wonder if it'll pick up DPN. There we go, fantastic. So we're tracking both VORs now. When that says 16, we'll be turning right for that radial, and we need to go ahead and select the manual heading relative to that, so it keeps 14 nautical miles on the display there for DPN. We fly that radial round to our final approach, so it's certainly going to be interesting for us. And I've not flown a DME arc for 2 months in the sim now, so good to knock a little bit of rust off. I'm keep looking at the charts just so I'm sure of things as I'm looking at them. Final approach at 2140 feet, and that's at 4 miles. So we're literally turning, and then we are landing within minutes, actually. With the 3-degree glide slope angle, it's telling us. And we're going to be targeting 700 foot per minute, roughly, for the descent. Because it's down to us, unless the ILS works, so we can then turn on and intercept that localizer once we've completed that DME arc. We can then go ahead and trigger the ILS and let the autopilot fly itself in that sense for that final approach up to 1,000 foot, and then we fly manual. But if it doesn't work properly, then we'll have to fly that heading ourselves, 284, which is the runway course on finals, and we'll manage that descent of 700 foot per minute, which should give us our 3-degree guide slope based on 130 or so knots ground speed. And looks like we'll be arriving at sunset as well, so very good timing. That's some stunning scenery down there though. Look at the mountains. Wow. Let's have a look at, was it Alt 8, wasn't it? Look at that. Amazing. There's some fantastic scenery around here, so Ashish, thank you very much for asking for this route today as a suggestion of something you'd like to see. It's actually been quite a nice trip, with the challenge at the end with that DME arc as well, of course. So within the next 5 or 10 minutes we'll be starting to think about that, flying that arc procedure. So we are getting quite close. We've got that QNH of 1017, haven't we? So METAR VIDP. Okay, so that's the same METAR, but it might change in 2 minutes. So I might request it again. It shouldn't change too much though. I'm more interested if the QNH changes at this point. And you can see that radial there that's been mapped in for us. Whether that's accurate or not, I'm not sure. But we'll find out. I'm not going to leave it. I could just leave it on managed heading and the aircraft will fly that GPS line on the route. But I want to fly that VOR DME 14-mile radial, so it gives us something to think about there, doesn't it? Something different as well. Once we start to descend further again, I'll go to local QNH 1017 and make sure that's set properly. So when we hit that transition altitude of 10,000, we can just flick across and it shouldn't affect us too much. Echo, good question. I'm not sure when the next stream will be. Possibly tomorrow. I might do one tomorrow. But I'm not sure where yet, so if anybody's got any suggestions, then let me know. What do the constraints say? Flight level 150, 7,000. That's actually all correct. 7,000 at that point, which is the start of the arc. That's pretty good. No, well, I wish aviation simulation, but that 787-10 is shocking to use, so I'm steering away from that for now. We're not too far away, so let's get that on the belts. We'll put them on because the sim does weird things. We'll get icing when we shouldn't have. And we should start to see, oops, New Delhi is off up here somewhere, so through the haze we should start to see it a bit more soon. It's as we can see there, it's 50 nautical miles away, exactly on our 12 o'clock, so it's on the way. Is the XE mod even worth it? No. Their project's pretty much ground to a halt because the 787-10 in the sim is encrypted, being an add-on for a specific package, the Premium Deluxe. They can't edit very much of it, so they've added a few things, I think, like the heads-up display and a few other bits. Beyond that, they've not been able to touch any of it, so their project is ground to a halt completely. Do you know if I would have to pay full price to get Premium Deluxe Edition, or can I pay Premium Deluxe Standard? Yeah, so as Aviation Simulation has just said, if you have the standard version and you want to upgrade to Premium Deluxe, they charge you an arm and a leg for it, and you end up paying a lot more than you would if you'd just purchased Premium Deluxe straight out the box. So I can highly recommend, if you're considering it, then I'll probably just go ahead and buy the bigger version if you want the extra handcrafted airports and things. Although, as we've seen, they're not particularly fantastic. So a couple of miles to Akban, 5 miles or so actually for that track, and then we'll start to descend down to 7,000, so we can get that ready. Oh, they broke the heads-up display. That's not good. We should be able to start seeing it. I think it's around where that lake is there. In fact, that could be it. Off in the distance, there's a big patch starting to render in up there. Yeah, if it was the A350, it would have been worth it. It's a shame, really, because they created a bit of hype saying that we start our descent down to 7,000, shall we? They made this big hype about how fantastic it would be. Premium Deluxe, you get the 787, but yeah, if I had the standard edition of the sim, I definitely wouldn't go ahead and upgrade to Premium Deluxe. My recommendation would be to wait for that Quality Wing 787, because it's the same price as if you were going to upgrade anyway. Go for a belly landing in a video. This VOR DME arc is a challenge in itself, so we're going to stick to that for now. As we can see on Navigraph, in case anybody's just tuning in, let's get Navigraph back up again. You can see here we've actually got quite a bit to consider. So here we are flying in past that Chilaki VOR, down to 7,000, flight level 70, and and then we need to be heading on this VOR DME arc. So we've got a lot to do now, so it's going to get very busy for us. What I'm going to do is activate approach phase, and it's the charts are saying flight level 70, so actually we're going to have a transition level of 70 as well. And we're going to have to keep an eye on all of this. It's interesting with the haze actually affecting the flight deck a little bit. SimPilot, yeah, Premium Deluxe is it's just not worth it, as we were saying earlier as well. It's, even the handmade airports are quite basic, certainly not good enough standard to justify the extra cost. But yeah, William, you can just buy quality wings 787, so well, at least that's what I understand. You should just be able to purchase that, and it will be a standalone pack add-on. Let's see, can we see Delhi yet? Not yet. It is over there somewhere. Who knows? Let's make use of some of these cabin views for the last time. Is the nav data in our sim from Navigraph, Dominic? Yeah, it is. I've got 1 month just to update the air rack on SimBrief as like a monthly thing, and then I'll probably cancel it. I'm still considering whether or not Navigraph is worth it for the price, €90 a year. Not quite sure, to be honest. The Jefferson charts you can just obtain anyway. The only thing you're really paying for is the way that they programmed it all to look with the overlays and things, but I'm still getting my head around it. I'm still not sure if I prefer it or not, actually. Wow, look at that. ANSI, Quality Wings 787, I think it's expected over the next 6, 7, 8 months. And yeah, that's a good point, SimPilot. Hopefully Aerosoft have built a independent autopilot for their CRJ. Otherwise it's going to be pretty poor. So we've passed Chi. Really as well we want that on. We've got ice detected? No. Good, so let's just turn it off. Can we see it yet? Yes, there it is. Off in the distance over there. So we're now looking at 19.6 miles. Once we get to 16, we need to turn right to start flying that DME arc. We need to be tracking that 14 miles exactly, or as best as we can really, as a radial based on the position of New Delhi Airport. We're going to continue our descent down to, was it 2,600 I think, wasn't it? Yep, 2,600. I'm going to go ahead and now go on to managed, manual heading select. And once we get to 16 miles, as we know from the sim, we need from the chart data, we need to start turning right, which is now, to intercept that DME arc. So I could just leave it on managed heading and let the aircraft fly itself, but that's not really flying the VOR DME. And obviously we've got the max speeds as well, so we're holding to that. We're using our speed brake to help us there. 1014 I think was the QNH. We've already started to lose that DME distance, so 13.7 look, so we need to bring that back out to 14 and fly that radial. Let's go ahead and set auto brake low. Go flaps 1 as well, shall we? Less speed gives us more time.
Camera crew, please take your
13.3 miles on the DME, so I'm just allowing us to come back out a little bit from the airport, which is off here somewhere. .5 miles. .6. 13.7. So these VOR DMEs can be quite challenging. Let's start to turn because we're at 13.9. I should have really turned at 13.7, but I was getting distracted. Yeah, you can see it's not the simplest thing to be doing. Look at that ground underneath, that's fantastic. And it also means we can't sightsee like I would rather be doing. We're at 14.2 actually, so we're not tracking this badly actually. Yeah, still 14.2 miles DME, so yeah, we are tracking this very nicely indeed. .1. Let's get a quick view of the outside, shall we? .9, so let's just bring this back out again slightly, shall we? Still descending down to 2,600. Loads of time. Let's bring that rate of descent down as well to -600. We can have a quick look on Navigraph as well for our position, and you can see we're actually flying that arc quite nicely there, keeping that 14-mile DME. We're aiming for 2,600 level by DPN, and by that point we're going to then turn left for our final approach, which is an ILS. And we want to drop down to 2,140 feet as we make that turn for finals to intercept the glide slope. You see the airport, where's the airport? Can you see it yet? I feel like that's it over there somewhere. In fact, it's on our 9 o'clock. Over there in the distance. Interesting, we can't see it. Hopefully we don't get there and then it's completely disappearing. And it's given us a Cat 3 ILS there, that's quite cool. So it's another turn. Constantly tweaking for this DME arc. SimPilot, is that do you mean there? Is that the way that Navigraph is manipulating the ILS data? Is that what you mean? Still turning. We'll go 070 degrees now. Landing at sunset in Delhi. Ashish, hope you're enjoying it. Let's do 050 so we can start to bring that radial back in, because we've drifted out to 14.7 there. But then I am looking at the outside as well, and QNH I've just realised should be 1017. So we're just bringing that back in. There we go, 14.3. Yeah, that's not very good at all then, if that's the case. I didn't realise that with Navigraph. 14.1 miles, so we are still nicely on that VOR. We can get rid of the Chi VOR tracking on the right there. We don't need VOR 2 now. We're focusing on DPN. And we're basically keeping the airport on our 9 o'clock as we make our way all the way around. So Delhi Airport's off in the distance over there somewhere. In fact, that looks like it there actually. That vast space. 14.1 miles on the DME. Let's keep that turn coming. We'll go ahead, go flaps 2. And what I'll probably do is intervene with the airspeed and hold at maybe 170 knots or so. So RadNav call out of 2500, and let's turn to 030 so we don't lose that DME radial. Coming up to 2600, we've got just over 6-7 miles before we are turning on finals. There goes the dog. Look at those views. This is where the sim excels in itself. And sunset off in the distance there as well, look at that. .9, so let's just come out slightly. It's one of those where I'd rather be further out than too close for the radial. Look at all that down below, look at that guys. Yeah, the A32NX, definitely I would agree with you there, SimPilot. It is the most advanced aircraft in the sim by far, and the CJ4 next in line as you said, most definitely. Those views are incredible. Let's come down to 160s now, shall we? And we'll do... We're actually good on 040 for the time being. So let's have a little look at this view. Not too much to see there. Let's have a look at that. Look at that. Yeah, an aircraft that can fly a proper hold will be very good. Rather than having to worry about doing it all manually as we have to do at the moment. .8 miles on that radial, so we're looking quite good actually. As we could see, we could just let it leave it in managed heading and the aircraft would have flown that radial itself, but that's not quite as fun. So now we want to come down to 2,140 feet. We can't do that, so we'll do 2,100. Minus 400 foot per minute for the time being. And we'll start to turn now to target our final approach. Delhi traffic, Air India 866, joining 10 mile finals ILS 28 from the DME arc. Let's see if ILS is actually reading. It is actually, with the correct course. So we're going to transition then from this to a ILS approach. So we've done as the charts has told us to. I'm just seeing if this aircraft is going to hold itself at 2,100, but it's doing that annoying thing where it's dropping our altitude with the turn. We're just waiting to intercept the ILS. what's interesting actually is our route for the runway is showing a complete different track to the ILS. So if I leave this to track, we'll see how bad this gets then. SimPilot, thank you very much. That's very kind. Look how far off the planned route we're coming for this ILS glide slope. Let's just put approach mode on for now, shall we? That sun is just dropping down there as we make our way in, and we can see the airport on finals there. Let's go ahead and configure for landing. We'll just drop this now into our final approach speed. And we'll go and enjoy a view for the time being. So we can see that gear down as well. Delhi traffic Air India 866, runway 28 finals. Yeah, they don't match the chart at all. Even on the Navigraph chart, as I quickly look at that, we've got a completely different track. And we're still not flying that glide slope. So the charts are quite different to what the what I would imagine we should have done for the joining of it. But hey ho. We got everything on and done. Yes. Good. Let's get the taxi charts ready. So we'll go to Terminal 3, as Flappy Boy said, the terminal for Air India. Wonder when we're actually going to intercept this ILS. Coming up to that glide slope now. Vertical guidance on the primary flight display. And winds are calm actually, they're showing a slight crosswind but 0 to 1 knots. And nose should come down, there we go. We're descending, let's set our missed approach altitude. Can't remember what it was now, I have a feeling it was 4,000. We are short finals, so too late.
1,000.
Coming up to 1,000, let's have a little quick look at these views again, very briefly. That's a great view, preset. And again, that one's quite cool as well. Let's just reset that centre flight deck view, and we'll go manual control. Coming up to 500 foot above the ground. There's our readout. Looks like we're slightly to the right. So I'm just going to bring us in gently. So that looks a bit better. A little buffer there with the wind kicking in. And interestingly, that glide slope's really dropped down now. So we've got 2 red, 2 white, but that's really low.
50, 40, 30, 20, retard, 10, 5.
So that the glide slope there didn't actually look that accurate at all. Looked like it brought us in a bit too high at the end for the ILS. There's a first glimpse of the terminal building. Will, thank you. It wasn't that great. Interestingly, the glide slope was bringing us in a lot higher than it should have done. So we've dropped that onto taxi already, haven't we? Yeah. Jolly good. Delhi traffic air India 866 taxiing to Terminal 3. Vacated runway 28. So we're coming off Lima and we want to turn on to, let's see, I want to turn on to this one here actually, Lima 1. So this is an auto-gen building. And we're going to make our way round to Terminal 3, which is all round on the main area of the airport here. Echo, thank you. So this is what I quite like about Navigraph, is actually we can look at our position on the graph. And find out where we need to be taxiing. So in absence of knowledge for the airport we're actually at, we can go ahead and just make our way around manually, which is quite cool. So we'll head down Romeo all the way down to Apron 31, down onto S, and then left on S around to Terminal 3. I hate how the drone cam keeps switching all the time. It always gives you this weird angled look. So obviously we were testing some new additions to the A32NX with the arrivals page and the way that that's all coded, and we saw during the MCDU input that there were some issues with that, so we're going to go ahead and after this flight I'll finish that report for the fly-by-wire team with the issues that I experienced. And then we'll see if the other QAs can replicate the same issues, or if it's something that I may have done wrong. Yeah, most of the taxiways on this sim are named wrong, aren't they? So it's and when they're not named wrong, they're really bumpy, as we're seeing now. This is a huge airport. So we're coming up to S. So at the end of this pier here, there's a left turn. We'll go on to S there. And then we'll make our way around to Terminal 3. And that way we've had a bit of a tour of the airport as well. Let's slow down, actually, we're going rapid. The new lights have been merged into the master as well, so what we're seeing today is some of the new light modifications, but it's not been merged properly into the master, so we're not seeing the extra volumetric effects of the beacons on the winglets or anything like that just yet. Ashish, how was that for you? Hope that was a good trip, well requested as well. It was a nice journey across, nice to do something different as well. I haven't seen the tug or anything yet from the sim, so I'm not sure where the sim was telling us to go. There's some steps. Then we're going to come into this little cul-de-sac here, and that's going to be our area at Terminal 3 we're going to park outside of. A lot better autogen wise than Mumbai. I think the autogen had got a little bit too much wrong with Mumbai, so She's good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. David, most airports have no signs yet. One of the really annoying things in the sim, actually. Oh, perfect. It's like the sim heard us. Ashish, no problem at all. Thank you for requesting it. There we go. It's like the sim knew. Ooh, in my haste. A little overshoot. Nice time to be landing as well, actually. The SimPilot, no, what it does is it randomly assigns a stand anywhere in the airport, basically, where it thinks it might want to have you park. And interestingly enough, ours has gone into Terminal 3, which is where somebody pointed out Air India parks anyway, so oddly enough, the sim has got it right today. And everything's there ready for us as well. So let's bring that down. There we go, taxi light off on the nose. Strange little yellow line taking us wide for no reason, but hey ho. And we'll bring ourselves onto stand. Nice to see the catering truck is in the way again, as always. Oh, and our marshal has just appeared as well out of nowhere. APU's on bleed. Engine 2 off. And engine 1 off, and we should be able to watch that, providing the sim doesn't cut that horrible menu again. Do like those custom views. There we go, that's engine 1 off as well. We go ahead and kick Pushback Express in as well, and we can get that jetway connected. In it comes. Straight into our face. Oh, we're actually in the door by the looks of it. That's worrying. That is very odd. And we can turn the beacon off, seatbelt signs, and go to external power. And then in doing so as well, because that's the end of the journey, we can go wing lights off, nav logo on, but we can go and turn the APU off as well. So we're purely on ground power now. Dominic, thank you for tuning in. For Pushback I use FS2 Cruise Pushback Express. Currently they've got a 30% off deal for winter 2020, I think is their code, so head to their website if anybody wants a really good pushback program that controls all of the ground equipment. So now, for example, as well, we can go catering, baggage please, and there we go. We've already kicked them off. So it controls quite a lot, and it's a really good bit of kit. The code for there we go. That code's in the live chat for everybody. Again, thank you Ashish for requesting a what was actually quite a nice trip. As always, if anybody else has any requests, then just let me know in the comments or on our Discord server, and we'll do our best to facilitate that. It could be anywhere in the world. We've already got one, and Singapore for the next stream. So be sure to tune in for that. And if there's any specific airlines and things you want to see, then let me know. I take lots of requests. Navigraph proved quite handy, although as we were saying at the end, ILS was a little bit off, which is a little bit frustrating, bearing in mind it's a very expensive payware product if you purchased it. But thank you everybody for watching. Make sure you click that subscribe button as well down below, and if you've enjoyed the stream, please click the like button. And see you next time for another live stream. Thank you all for tuning in.